Welcome to the NFL. Let's go! Let's go! Go!
Welcome in, everybody. It is week 1 of the NFL season. We are back. Start-sit decisions are upon us. Fantasy football is upon us. We may have commercials on Red Zone now, but either way, football is back, and it is a glorious Sunday. Week 1 is here, and I am here to help you answer all of those start-sit questions that you have under dying needs. Week 1, a little bit easier for most of us. It's kind of one of those plug it and play type of players. You're really starting your best lineup that you can, which is pretty much mostly the first couple players you did draft. However, at times, some things happen depending on how early the draft was. So we're here to answer those simple questions. Alrighty. So it's early. We got some news. We had some games that played already. We looks like Xavier Worthy's going to miss some time, if not extended time. So that's disappointing. So we'll definitely be running to the waiver wire to replace that situation in the future. But either way, most of the games look like we're set up to have some pretty exciting games, some big impactful rookies. That's always exciting. The weather looks like it's cooperating in a majority of the places, so we shouldn't have too much of that to worry about. And either way, football's back, and we don't care, right? Fantasy's going to get us. I started out the week good with a first touchdown score on Javonte Williams and then just missed in the Chiefs and Kansas City game. Also, who knew Quentin Johnston was a thing, right? Early fun and excitement. So we'll get those again today. So again, remember, it's all in the fun. But either way, we're going to start ripping these off here. D-Falk, welcome in. Egbuka or Hunter. This gets real interesting with the news that came out that they want to primarily use Hunter as a receiver and then a secondary as a corner. So that does make it much more appealing to me for Travis Hunter. I'm probably going to go ahead and ride Emeka Egbuka here still. I think the game script is going to be a little bit more favorable to Egbuka. I think that game's a little bit more of a shootout. You can kind of see even within Vegas, it's kind of predicted to be a little bit more. What do we got here? 47.5 for that game, 45. So you're basically the same. So they're predicting kind of a similarity of a game script, but I do think that the Bucks-Falcons game is a little bit closer. So I'm probably going to ride out still Emeka Egbuka there. Hunter does get much closer to that situation, but I still want to ride with Egbuka, who to me was still a little bit more profiling in this offense as more of a target hog. You still have to worry about Brian Thomas Jr. and etc. with Travis Hunter. So until we see it, I'm going to ride Emeka Egbuka a little bit there. David, it is good to be back. Hopefully this year we have the same success we did last year. It was a pretty good run there last year. SK Bestie Liban, how are you doing here? Jamison Williams, Travion Henderson, or Josh Downs. I'm going to roll with Travion Henderson. Pretty simple here. I think everybody over at FTN would included agree here. Like the spot for him. I think that you're still going to see some Ramondre Stevenson. You're going to still see some Drake May near the red zone as far as the rushing goes. But Travion Henderson's explosive. He's in that tier of like the Jahmyr Gibbses that you don't need as many touches to be a huge production player. So I'll ride with that. I think Jamison's interesting, did get the contract this morning, but that matchup, it's an up and down matchup. We haven't really seen Jamison have huge success in those games with the Packers. So obviously different with Jair Alexander not there. So polarizing in a way, but I do lean Henderson. They're really 3 good, strong starts. I don't know if you can go wrong. Even Josh Downs with the Dolphins missing some of their secondary. I think Downs is a good spot too, but I do lean to Henderson there for you, SK. David, I'm a little worried. I picked the Cardinals in quite a few survivor pools. So hopefully, much like yourself here, it's not as bad as we think. I'm still rolling Kyler. If he should be decent enough to actually physically play the game. So we'll be all right there. I don't think we're going to be overly worried too much there. Yeah, folk, I don't mind bumping Hunter in if you really have a lean that direction, but I still think Egbuka. I mean, they're back to back for me in my rankings. Let's see here. We have him. Do you have to scroll a little bit? Yeah, I got him. I've got Egbuka at 32. I've got Hunter at 33. The consensus at FTN has Ibuka at 26 and Hunter at 32. So like couple fellas over there at FTN have him a little bit higher as far as Ibuka goes. So I might be a little bit low on him. I do think though that Ibuka has a pretty big day. So I'm still going to ride him for sure. That's good to hear, David. Winning leagues is always fun. That's the point of the game, right? So hopefully we do run that back for you. And we'll start with this one. Aaron Jones or J.K. Dobbins. I would ride Aaron Jones there for me. I think that that's a little bit more of a high-profile matchup there as far as contending. I think that the Broncos run away with it. J.K. Dobbins then gets a little interesting in the second half as far as like a ground and pound type of scenario if you want to go that route. But I like Aaron Jones a little bit more of the pass catcher in an offense that's a little going to probably be in a game that's a little more back and forth. Let's see here. Bobby Baseball on X here. I'm going to pull that up quick. We got Tracy or Harvey. I will go Harvey here. Again, I think it's going to be a split between Harvey and Dobbins. I think Harvey a little bit more explosive at this point in his career. I like him a little bit more than Tyrone Tracy. Giles, how's it going? Standard scoring. Ooh, don't see those too many anymore, eh? Sutton or Tet McMillan. I'm gonna go with Tet McMillan here. I think that he has a pretty big day. Sutton is intriguing. I do think Sutton scores, but you're really looking for touchdowns. And I feel like I know this is probably a wild take early in week one, but I think the chance for 2 touchdowns comes for Tet McMillan. I think that he's going to be a huge part of that passing offense. And if they want to keep up with the Jaguars today, Tet McMillan's going to be the key in that offense outside of Chuba Hubbard. So I'm going to go there. Also being an underdog, I guess you could, much like you said here, like Sutton is a floor play 100%. Like we know what we're going to get. He's going to see 8 or so targets, but we don't know what's behind Sutton this year. Like Troy Franklin's made some noise. We know Marvin Mims is liked. We know Harvey's in there now. Evan Ingram. Like there's a lot of question marks in that Denver offense on how this plays out, where McMillan is what Sutton was last year. Like we know McMillan is the guy in that passing attack. So I'm going to ride McMillan in that. I know it's a rookie week one question marks, but it's a good matchup. The secondary's meh. And we also hear Travis Hunter's not playing likely most of the defensive snaps. So that makes it even more appealing. Not that Hunter would lock down McMillan in a way. We saw McMillan have his way with Hunter at the collegiate level, even at times. So not too worried. But yeah, I'm going to play McMillan for that high upside there, Giles. Nikisha, Kupp, or Pittman. I'm going to go Michael Pittman. I like the matchup against the Dolphins secondary. I know they were a stronger secondary unit last year, but I know they're missing a couple pieces right now. I think Daniel Jones is a very first read target thrower, at least in New York last year. So that does help to Josh Downs and helps to Michael Pittman. Whoever's kind of designed to get the play is going to get the football. Jones also likes to throw the ball down the field, much like Anthony Richardson did. Had a very low check down rate according to FTN data last year. So Pittman is probably going to see a good target share, hefty target share. Cooper Kupp, big question marks around there. Torrey Horton's kind of come on a little bit. We obviously know who JSN is, and we know what we're going to get with Walker and Charbonnet out of the backfield. Big question mark there is Sam Darnold in a true game, not behind the Minnesota Vikings and Kevin O'Connell. So I'm going to ride with Pittman. I know you could argue Sam Darnold's a better quarterback, but I just think the situation, game script, Michael Pittman seems a little bit like a better play this week. Chris, you made it to week one. I know. We all did. Finally. Long road here, but we're here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A little thin at running back 2. You're not that thin, trust me. Eckler and Bigsby, that's not that bad. It's dicey. You know, you get a little bit of the quarrels every single day as far as who we're going to start, but I think you have 2 good options here this week, and I'm going to roll Tank. I'm pretty high on Tank. Wrote him up as one of my starts over on my Substack. I really do think that he's a good start this week. I think that he's the prototypical player in this matchup. I think the Jaguars get up a little bit on Carolina. I think they pound the rock. I think Liam Cohen's going to want to kind of ease into this offense. One way to do that, put the ball in the hands of your running backs, and we saw Bigsby I feel personally that Bigsby has kind of firm hold. I wouldn't say he's run away with anything, but I think he has a firm hold on the early down type of runner. I'm sure Tutton will get some touches. ETN will see some work, but Bigsby feels like the guy for me here in this backfield. And then you add in the whole thing with Eckler, with Bill and Rodriguez and McNichols. Like, that could be just a disaster. Add in Jaden Daniels running the football. Maybe if Deebo Samuel gets a touch here or there, like, it's just Eckler's a mess. And so for me, I'm riding Bigsby, at least right now, until we get a clearer picture what it is in Washington. Gambling corner, love that. I think that's a Squidward picture. It's pretty solid, not going to lie. David Montgomery, Ridley, or Tyrone Tracy. I'm going to roll with Tyrone Tracy here. Ridley's matchup against Sutton, not appealing, especially with the rookie quarterback. Not always the greatest thing against a stout Denver defense. David Montgomery coming off the injury. Green Bay might score a touchdown, but not loving that. I think Tyrone Tracy a little bit more involved in that Giants pass backfield and passing attack here in week 1. Ben, league with 10-point rushing touchdowns, 8-point receiving touchdowns. Oh, I like it. The 10-point rushing touchdowns is one that I hadn't seen in a while, and then joined a league with some work friends, and yeah, they had 10-point rushing touchdowns. I was like, whoa, running backs matter. Like, all the running backs are gone by like round 4. So I feel your pain there, Ben, with 10-point rushing touchdowns. Either way, back to your real question. I will go with I'm going to go Stephon Diggs. I don't know if Eckler gets in the end zone today. Truthfully, I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels probably is the one who gets in the end zone, and you might see probably Rodriguez is my guess. Will probably be the rushing touchdown scorers for the Commanders if they do find the end zone today. So I'm going to go there with Diggs. I just think, yes, that the points per touchdown lean to the running back, but I do think even at 8 points, like, that's a solid play. I think Diggs should be able to do some decent things against the Vegas secondary. I think Drake May will also be fine in his home debut this year in what it's supposed to be a little rainy, but I think he'll still be able to move the football fairly well. Let's see here. No problem, Giles. David, need one more running back. Have Harvey, Tank Bigsby, Tutton, and Benson. I'd go Bigsby. I mean, I just talked about it with the last few questions. So you also got Dobbins. I'm probably riding Bigsby. Harvey's intriguing, but I do think that Tank Bigsby is probably the play that I want there. Let's see here. Looking for something quick here. You are welcome, Giles. Mr. Nice Guy. Mr. Nice Guy. I like that. Mr. Nice Guy. I like it. Either way, flex. Demario Douglas, Calvin Ridley, or Keon Coleman. Also have Ollie Gordon. Like all those options, Ollie Gordon, intriguing. Definitely not starting him. Not going to lie to you. Intriguing as the plays goes on. Kind of want to see how that plays out. Still think Devon Achane's the guy. Obviously, if he gets hurt, Ollie Gordon's going to see some touches, but can't predict injuries. Riding with Achane, obviously, in that offense. So Ollie Gordon, not really there. I don't think he's Raheem Mostert just yet. Chance he could be, but not going to risk that in week 1. Although your other options aren't super appealing, I do think Demario Douglas is a safest play. Douglas will see plenty of targets. I think he's going to give you some PPR points if you're playing PPR. Ridley and Coleman are your upside plays. So the issue with Ridley is the Sutton matchup. Like, how does this work out? How does this play out? Add in, then they also have Jody Barron on the other side. Like, doesn't get much easier for Calvin Ridley, even if it isn't Cortland Sutton. So and then Keon Coleman draws a very tough matchup in Baltimore. They're going to try to get him the football tonight in Buffalo. I know that he's kind of becoming what they want to be, at least the main focal point in that passing attack at some point. I just don't know if is the week to really plug Coleman in and try to shove him in there. I think there's going to be a tough matchup this evening in Buffalo. So I think if you want some safe play at flex, it's going to be Demario Douglas. And then I'd probably roll Ridley. It's a tough matchup. Like I said, rookie quarterback, don't love it. So I lean Demario Douglas as my guy. But I will say Ridley is probably the safest of all 3 of these players with an equal upside. You're welcome, Nikisha. Trey, what is up? Good morning, Trey. Need 2. Hill, Marv, Garrett, full PPR. Any interest in starting Samson? Samson's intriguing, not over these guys, if that's what the question involves as far as flex goes. I would go Tyreek Hill and Marvin Harrison Jr. I like the matchup against New Orleans for Marvin Harrison Jr. I do know Kyler has the illness, obviously, which people are getting a little cold feet on. Not too worried. I think Marv has a decent day. I think he finds the end zone. Tyreek Hill, he's got to be involved for the Dolphins to get anything done. So I do think that they try to get him involved. Garrett Wilson, that's a low point total game. Like that game could be a defensive slugfest. So yeah, just kind of avoid that one for now. Camille, good morning. Good morning, Camille. 0.5 PPR, 1 running back, 2 flex. I have Henderson, RJ, Harvey, Chubb, Flowers, Ridley, Secure. So Henderson will be for sure in there for me, as at least we'll say the 1 running back. Then for my flex, I would probably go Shakir and Nick Chubb would be my 2. I like the matchup for Chubb in Houston against the Rams. I think that's going to be a fairly high-scoring game. I think Chubb can find his way into the end zone pretty easily in that matchup, much like I think Henderson can against the Raiders. And then Shakir, I think, is going to be kind of a big piece in this passing attack. Coming off an injury, so that is a little concerning. But I feel like Flowers hasn't always had the biggest games against Buffalo. Ridley, again, has a tough matchup we talked about a lot this morning. And Shakir just seems like the guy. I don't think they're going to be able to really throw on the perimeter corners. I think they're going to try to kind of keep it in the middle of the field, short, get it out of Josh's hands, and let them work after it. So I do think that Shakir is going to be it. Scheffner tweeted that CMC is playing for any worried CMC managers like me. Yeah, he's going to play. I'm not too worried about that. I know you're saying you're worried, but I do think that you will be fine. And I do think a lot of people will be fine. I think that was a classic case of our veteran has had injury issues, and we are going to rest him when something flares up. That's what that felt like to me, at least this week. So yeah, I'm not too panicked there for any of you guys that are rostering CMC. Fire him up. Don't worry about it. I have him actually ranked the highest over at FTN right now. I'm in. I still think that he's going to be fine for this week. Reset. Sutton, Hunter, or Golden. I'm going to probably go Matthew Golden as a upside play. I really do like Matthew Golden this week. I think that he's going to have to be an integral part of this passing attack that will be in a game that's going to be a little bit of a back and forth, at least as I project it. So I'm going to go with Matthew Golden there. Sutton's the safest play, safest floor. You're going to see some targets. Talked about it a little bit earlier. If you were not listening, it was kind of, with players behind him. What's this offense exactly going to look like in Denver? A lot more pieces there. So I'm going to go with Golden. Hunter's intriguing, polarizing, but I'm going to go with Golden. I think he's going to be the key part in that passing attack with a lot of people injured there in Green Bay. Trey, I have to pick one wide receiver flex from Ridley, Odunze, Tillman, Mims, Purcell, and Sampson. So I'm going to go Romo Dunze and probably so Odunze would definitely be the start, whether it's wide receiver flex, wherever you want to put. I'm not going to start Sampson. So you're really looking at Tillman, Mims, Purcell, and Ridley. Ridley's probably the safest play. Tillman does intrigue me, though, in a game that they're going to have to throw the football against a Bengals secondary and what should be a semi-shootout in there. Cleveland's defense hasn't been as great as it has been in the past few years. So I'm going to probably go Dunze and Tillman. It's a little bit of the upside play there for me. If you want a little bit of a safer piece, it might be Ridley, but again, very tough matchup against a Denver team. First time I've been in a 10-point rush touchdown league, joined my fiance's dad auction league this year. Yeah, Ben, it was another league, same thing. Mine I joined was some guys at work, my boss actually, and they've been around for a while. Just Yahoo's default, I guess. It was 10 touchdowns. That's what it says, at least on the website. So I was like, what? Weird. Shows you don't play on Yahoo enough, right? David, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, or JCM and Jennings, or Marvin Harrison. That's a lot of questions, David. Of all of these, if I'm picking one, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. would be my guess. If you're asking me one running back, one wide receiver, it is Marvin Harrison Jr. and Aaron Jones, David. Chris bench 2 rookies, start 1. Mika Buka, Jaden Higgins, Alec Ayomanor. Pretty simple there. Ayomanor not playing for me right now, Chris. And either is Jaden Higgins. I will be starting Amika. Oh my God. Amika Abuka. Sparrow, streaming Bengals or Jets defense. Jets, for sure. That one. I like that matchup for the Jets. The Bengals, I will never play. Whether I'm streaming or not, definitely not playing the Bengals defense. I can tell you that much. Huda Mike, what is up? Welcome back. We're back. It's week 1. Excited. We'll be here weekly. So get used to us, Mike, right? Need help as usual. Everybody needs help. That's what we're here for. I have 2 questions, both Dobbins or Eckler, Harrison, Abuko, Dunze. Thanks. You're welcome in advance. Dobbins, pretty simple there for me at running back, at least. I think that the game script, everything, they should be leaning on the running backs in the second half. So I'm going to roll with that and J.K. Dobbins there. Harrison Jr., Abuka, no, Dunze gets a lot more complicated. But I'm going to go Marvin Harrison. I think I have him ranked the highest amongst those 3 this week. I like all 3. So if you have a lean either direction, Mike, I'm roll with it. That's one thing I've learned. Trust your gut. But either way, Harrison, I do like him this week against New Orleans. I know there's some worry about Kyler Murray's illness, but I'm not worried. I think it's going to be pretty simple there. I think Harrison finds the end zone. I think we're good to go, Mike. Trey, you're welcome. And Shrey, thank you. You're welcome. All righty, let's see here. So we got some here on X that are not in the comments. We're going to run through those. Benzizmo, Harrison, Purcell, or Abuka. That one's going to be Harrison. Whoa, don't know what just happened there. But that is Harrison Jr. for me. Again, I like Abuka this week, and I like Marvin Harrison, but I'm going to lean to Harrison, ranked the highest for me. Alrighty. Aaron Cantu on X. Need 2 of DK, Jamison Williams, or Zay Flowers. I would go Zay and Jameson there. Not really on DK Metcalf this week. Gonna give it a week. I'll let him blow up on my bench if I have to. Just not totally about it this week. Good morning. We got Jordan Love or Jared Goff. That one's pretty easy for me. I like Jordan Love in that matchup. Then we got Kincaid or Jonnu Smith is Dalton Kincaid. And then May or Stroud is Drake May. Like both, lean to Drake May. Okay. OC, Calvin Ridley, Abuka, or McMillan this week. Pretty simple for me, OC. That is McMillan. Have him ranked the highest. I think that there's a ton of upside in that passing attack. I think it's a little bit of a back and forth game in Carolina and Jacksonville, much like everybody probably does. McMillan, though, safe play as far as the main guy in that offense. I think he does find the end zone. And my wild take, said it earlier, I do think maybe McMillan even finds the end zone twice tonight. Well, not tonight, today, for the Carolina Panthers. What's up, Matt? Safe to start him? Yes, very safe. We can never predict injuries. CMC is as safe as we can say CMC is. I feel like that was pretty much just a precaution. He probably had some soreness, tightness in his legs, and coaching staff says, "We know you're good. You can play the game. You know the offense. Let's sit you out for a bit and just get you ready and healthy for week one." That's what that was. It's pretty simple. We see it all the time. When some of these players do kind of tweak something, they're going to be extra precautious, especially a player like Christian McCaffrey, who is basically that team's offense. So, yeah, I'm gonna ride CMC. Okay. Let's see what we got rolling over here. Okay. Slow morning. Like I said, it's week one. We're just excited for football, and everybody's going to start. They're normal players for most of us here. So, not too worried about it. But let's see here. Looking a little slow. It's all right. Let's see. Let's find those questions. Matt. What's up, Matt? Kyler or Fields? This is an interesting one with our illness that has popped up with Kyler Murray. I'm still riding Kyler Murray. I trust that the illness is not overly concerning. I still think that this is a really good matchup against a very weak New Orleans defense. Justin Fields, although I think he can score on the ground today, that's a very tough matchup against a Pittsburgh defense. Very low point total in that Pittsburgh Jets game. I really think it could be a defensive mastermind or master pace, if you would like. But either way, I do think that Kyler is the go-to here for this week's matchup there. Kyler over Fields for me, Matt. David, I have Kyler starting right now, but Dak on the bench. Who can I drop? Top 5 quarterbacks available are Fields, Love, Lawrence, May, Darnold. I mean, I would probably just play Kyler. Those are a lot of quarterbacks that are available that are good. I like them all, David. Love, probably led by Love, May, Lawrence would probably be my top 3. But I'd probably just start Kyler personally and ride with that. Let's see here. Philly, good morning. How are you doing? One running back, flex, Metcalf, Montgomery, Dobbins, ETN, Caleb. So I'd probably play Dobbins, and in this situation, I'd play DK. I'm not super stoked about DK this week, but I like Dobbins as the running back. I think that he'll see enough touches, at least in the second half. I don't love DK, much like David said here. The numbers historically for him against Sauce Gardner, not great. Actually, 69 yards on a few catches over the last last few matchups they've had. I think it's 2 matchups they had against each other while he was in Seattle. Rodgers will throw it up to him though, so there's a chance he has a little bit of a better day, but I'm not stoked to start DK. So if you're in that same boat, I guess you could roll Dobbins and Montgomery. Just feels like Montgomery will find the end zone potentially. Other than that, I don't really love Montgomery. I don't like Travis Etienne. I don't think this game script's going to favor Etienne this week. So I'm going Dobbins and Metcalf. If you're on the boat, much like David and myself that don't love DK, Monty's okay. But I do probably say Dobbins and Metcalf is your safest, highest upside play there with those guys. That would be interesting. Kind of surprises me, but I mean, that makes Bill a little more interesting at the running back position. Unless McNichols, I'm sure McNichols is playing then. So I would still not sold. I mean, I guess it clears it up a little bit for Eckler. As far as Rodriguez goes, clears it up. I mean, I guess it's Bill, Eckler, McNichols. That really surprised me that Rodriguez isn't playing. I thought, truthfully, he's probably the best thing. Yes, it's just Bill. Bill's the guy. Maybe it pushes Bill's definitely up the rankings for sure. Probably, if you had any questions with Bill, redrop them if you're still watching. I think that changes a lot of stuff because Rodriguez was the biggest hurdle for Bill because Bill and Eckler play a different role in that offense. Yeah, that would be what it changes the most there, David. Would be that Bill becomes a little bit more appealing to me, at least. Which those inactives should be coming out a little bit more. Yeah, Darnell Mooney, like you said there, David. Looks like a lot of the rest are expected to play. Oh, where is he? Lost my screen. There we go. David was Aaron Jones. I remember he had something with Krosky Merritt. Yeah, no, I'm still riding Aaron Jones. Yeah, 100% for me. We got Allen here. Tet McMillan or Devontae Adams would be Devontae Adams for us here, Allen. Pretty simple there. I like the matchup against the Rams. I know that they might saw some graphics throughout the week of people talking about potentially Stingley being on Devontae Adams, which may happen. But But I still think that Adams will not get 100% of that. They're going to have to also kind of shift that around. Puka Nacua is going to be involved, obviously, and the defense is going to have to account for both. And I still like Devontae Adams being a little bit better of a piece. I do like Ted McMillan as a sneaky play, but I do like Devontae Adams there. David, again, what do I got here? Between Gordon, JCM, and Tutton, who do you think has the best year? It's going to be Krosky, Merritt, probably. I don't think Tutton really is going to take as much as work as everybody was projecting early in the offseason. Ollie Gordon as well. Like, feels like unless he's Raheem Mostert, it's Devon Achane's backfield. So I'm going to go with Krosky Merritt there as far as, like, air quotes, this year's Bucky Irving. John Sarita, Abuka, or Harrison. I'm going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. here. I'm still in on it. The talent's there. The offense, I think, is going to be a little bit look a little different this year. Hopefully, gets Harrison moving a little more, and hopefully Kyler trusts him a little bit more to toss it up to him. And yeah, I mean, on Marvin Harrison, I like the matchup today, especially against New Orleans. Weak secondary, a game script that, which is a wild stat that I saw when I was doing some research on Harrison over the summer. Like, the Cardinals threw to Harrison more when they were ahead. It's kind of weird. Don't know why, but it was the case. So maybe, positive game script for him is that they're going to be beating them. So I'm in on Marvin Harrison Jr. Walker Henderson in standard scoring. I would go with Ken Walker there for you, Dave. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to find the end zone once or twice. Just ranked significantly higher for me than Travion Henderson. I like Henderson, but until we really see how this shakes out between Henderson and Ramondre in a true game, I'm going to roll with Ken Walker. I still think Henderson's a good start, but I think Walker's got a little bit more upside. Let's take a peek here. Pull up as the inactive list should be coming out. Talked about some of them, obviously. Chris Rodriguez, Darnell Mooney, David brought to our attention, but let's see what we got. Whoa. No. Technical. This is week 1, folks. You gotta give us a minute here. We're getting some. We got a paused screen now. We're moving here. The internet. Too many things moving at once here. Okay, so let's see here. Darnell Mooney. Jermaine Burton doesn't really do anything for us. Shedeur Sanders sitting inactive. Let's see here. Nothing with the Colts. Will Mallory, a little interesting. Wasn't going to be anything. Raheem Mostert is inactive behind Ashton Genty, so that's enough to say, Ashton Genty is going to be a huge piece of that offense. Looks like Afton Chisholm's inactive. I know the early. Tristan Wirfs. George Fan. Chris Rodriguez. Yeah. Nothing overly exciting for week 1 as far as inactives go. Yeah, I don't see the Jets one, but okay. Lazard's inactive too. Jets one's not listed on the site that I am using. Interesting. Not overly, but Steven, what's up, Steven? Welcome back. Ingram or Tyler Warren. That one is Ingram for me, 100%. I like the role in Denver. Much like I talked about with Cortland Sutton throughout the show. I don't know what we're going to see from this Denver offense, but I do know Ingram's going to be involved. Definitely has a chance to eat into what we saw from Sutton last year. And we saw he can be productive when healthy. Tyler Warren, big question mark around what that offense looks like. I know there's a lot of people that are on the side that he's going to be peppered with targets. Still think you got some good players in Michael Pittman, Adonai Mitchell, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, all around there. A guy named Jonathan Taylor who likes to see the football. So Tyler Warren's good. He's interesting. Nice piece at the tight end position, but I'm not sold that he's like going to be like the Travis Kelce of this offense where they're peppering with targets. So I'm going to go with Evan Ingram. I think he has a clearer shot to like target share 2 type of volume there at the tight end position. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. We got DK Metcalf, Judy, or Jamison Williams on X from Fantasy Football Guy. That one is going to be Judy for me. I believe in Jerry Judy a lot this week in a matchup that is going to be very pass heavy for the Cleveland Browns. And I'm confident in Joe Flacco for sure. Also has one of DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. That's DJ Moore for me. Again, not totally believing in DK in week 1. Kind of want to see it play out here for this passing attack. Snickers the Cat on X, Odunze, Jordan Mason, Dynasty League flex spots would be Odunze for me. Let's see here. Need to start one. Kyle Pitts, tight end. Zach Ertz, Chig Okonkwo. That will be Ertz. For me, Bedward. Like the spot for Ertz this week against the Giants in what he has proven to be a good passing attack. Got one here in Discord. Does C-Rod affect Bill? Yeah, obviously. I mean, C-Rod was always the biggest issue with that for Bill. Also see here, we got one Olave or Pollard in flex. I would go Olave there over Tony Pollard. I do not like the spot for Tony Pollard this week. I know a lot of people do. I personally don't. I think that Denver defense is a little bit stouter than people want to give it credit for, I guess, because they're saying start Tony Pollard. Chancey gets in the end zone, but I really think that they make it a living hell, for lack of a better term, for Cam Ward in week 1. Week 1 quarterback's never too great here for rookies, so I think that I'm going to roll with Chris Olave there. A lot more upside. I know it's Spencer Rattler, but more likely passing script type of scenario, as well as in Tennessee. So that's where I kind of a little away from Pollard. I just don't think, even with a volume, because there's not much behind Tony Pollard, I don't think that he's going to produce a plethora of fantasy points. Maybe he's a low end running back 2. That's maybe where Olave falls in, but Olave's low end wide receiver 2 is probably double digit points. Pollard may be, similar to what we saw from Isaiah Pacheco, or Omarion Hampton, 9-point territory, depending on your scoring. Obviously PPR here for this one. Eckler, Mark Andrews, or Ridley for Earl on X. I like Mark Andrews today. I will probably go with Eckler, though. I think with Rodriguez out, clears it up a little bit. It's obviously going to be Eckler and Bill. And depending on if the Giants can stay in this game, fairly interestingly, Eckler may have a little bit more touches somewhere in there. So I'm going to roll with Eckler in this situation. I don't like the Ridley start at all, to be honest. Let's see here. Mikey on X, Murray or Lawrence with the illness news. I don't mind going to Trevor Lawrence. I still like Kyler Murray this week, but I like Trevor Lawrence as well. Both of them are top 12 quarterbacks for me. I don't think you can really go wrong this week. If you want to avoid the illness potential, I'm fine going to Trevor Lawrence. I think he has a pretty big day. Chucking that ball around the yard to Thomas and Hunter. My only concern with Lawrence is that potentially they get ahead in the game and it turns into just kind of a ground and pound with Bigsby, Tutton, and ETN, which could very well happen. Because typically Cohen's offenses are a little bit run heavy. So I could see a little bit of that. And when I say run heavy, it's a slight lean to the run. So I guess heavy is not the best word, but yeah, I'm fine making that switch if you're worried, Mike. You're welcome. Yeah, and could happen with Connor as well. And Benson. They talked up Trey Benson a little bit too. Especially in that game with New Orleans. Like if they get out and they get going, you're gonna see a lot of probably Benson and Connor as well. So I agree, Mike. Let's see here. For Diggs or Jennings for Nate S on X. That would be Jennings for me. Ben on X, Hawker, Laporta, also Garrett Wilson or Ibuka. I would go Laporta. Chicago was actually pretty good against tight ends last year, so I'll go with Laporta. I think Hawkinson could get neutralized a little bit. There's a lure though to me with Hawkinson just because like there is no Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor. I mean, up and down. You also got Thielen coming in. How's that going to work out? So there's some intrigue there for me. But I like Laporta in this matchup. I think he does decent. Also, better matchup against Green Bay as opposed to Chicago. As far as tendon points went from last season, obviously things have changed. But if we're going to go with some historical data, since it's week one, I'll roll with Laporta. Garrett Wilson or Ibuka is pretty simple for me. Ibuka facing again a weaker secondary in Atlanta. I do think that game goes closely to what Vegas has predicted as far as that 47.5 over under. Also a little bit of a back and forth there. And I lean that Ibuka is going to see a pretty hefty target share for sure. So I will go Laporta and Ibuka, where with main reason over Wilson, just low point total. Don't know how that offense looks. And it's a tough matchup there for Garrett Wilson. So I'll go Laporta and Ibuka. We got Mike back in the house. Oh, technical difficulties. Sutton or T-Mac, full PPR. I'm going T-Mac. I like McMillan this week. I talked about it a little bit earlier. He's my guy to be like maybe two touch, or maybe the Quentin Johnson effect from Friday night this week. I think that they ran at the pass. I think that's going to be a good back and forth type of game there between Jacksonville and Carolina. And in the passing attack, it really comes down to T-Mac. He's the guy. So I could see in the red zone, Bryce Young tossing them up a couple and potentially getting to there. But I'll cast flow DK or Odunze. I'd go Rome Odunze. Risk it for the biscuit. You know, scared money don't make money, right? That the antage. Yeah, I don't love DK against likely Sauce Gardner, and I don't love that the mesh isn't totally there probably yet for DK and Rodgers. How's this offense exactly look? Because he is the guy, obviously in the passing attack, but like, do we see a lot of Warren? Do we see some weird 3 tight end sets? Like, what is it going to be? But I roll with Odunze here. I think that they're going to be trying to feed him the football fairly well. Caleb likes him. He's kind of a little bit more that mid to deep threat type of play. Minnesota was a little weak against wide receivers last year as well. So I'm going to go with that on Monday night and go with Odunze. Also gives you that old advantage of like the last player potentially playing. Always fun with that, on Monday night. Mike, you are welcome. Anytime. I'm here all the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Every Sunday I'll be here though. Scott on X, start one, Olave or Swift. That one I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. Again, I like that matchup for the Bears players against Minnesota's defense. Ben Johnson's first actual NFL game. I think the decline of DeAndre Swift was a little overstated, we'll say. I think that he's still a very productive NFL player. I think he's going to have a pretty good season, to be honest, and I think it starts Monday night. We got Mike on X. What's up? Harvey, Charbonnet, Pittman, Shakir. Need one non-PPR. Non-PPR, I will go Harvey, Mike. There. Really looking for touchdowns. Charbonnet maybe, but I do think that Walker's probably still involved. Like Pittman, but unless he scores non-PPR, I mean, Shakir, we know who Shakir is, so I'll go with Harvey a little bit of upside and a running back. But how do we feel about Josh Downs? I like Josh Downs. My Substack, Beyond the Chalk there, I wrote him up as a start. I think that the Dolphins are missing Kader Kohu, and they may be starting, what is it? I think it was a 5th round rookie, if I remember correctly in the article. And Josh Downs played from over 80% of his snaps last year from the slot, likely to be in that position again. Daniel Jones, high first read target type of player. Likely, if the Colts are smart, they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands fairly quickly. And I'm going to take that. I think that they're going to have to pass, to keep up with Miami a little bit. And everybody favors Miami. So that, again, game script leans to a little bit pass heavy. I think Downs could have himself a fairly productive day. 100% in on Josh Downs this week. Again, when I say 100%, not starting him over Jamar Chase, but there's that chance. There's a chance he finishes ahead of him. I'm just saying. But either way, yes, and within reason, I am 100% in on Josh Downs. Jake Yokima, Jaden Higgins, Noel, or Palmer at flex. I'm going Noel. So here's how this is going to play out, in my opinion, in Houston. Obviously, Kirk is out. Kirk's a big player that I liked this year. I thought that there was going to be huge potential for him. I still do think that he's missing week 1. We'll see how this goes. He has had struggled with the injuries as the years have gone on. But I do think as the year continues, we'll see more of Christian Kirk. The slot player in this offense, fairly productive. Even a pass catcher in general has been very productive in Houston. They had 3 receivers over 100, over 10 fantasy points prior to Tank Dell going down and Diggs going down in the previous seasons. So I'm in on Jalen Noel. I think Jalen Noel fits in and plugs in as Christian Kirk's replacement from the injury. So Higgins was always going to be involved as the other perimeter receiver. So I'm in on Noel, kind of just replacing Christian Kirk. I think that there's a good chance Noel finds the end zone today. It's a little bit of a dark horse, but I do think he does get in. Rashad White or Stevenson. I'm going to go Rashad White here. I think that game's a little bit more of a scoring frenzy, and I still think Rashad White's going to be more involved than the media and the fantasy realm think. I'm the proponent to it. I've drafted him in a ton of spots. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just being naive to the fact that Bucky Irving is as good as he is. It's not a hate towards Bucky Irving. I just think that they're going to run 2 running backs. I think you're going to see Bucky Irving and Rashad White, a lot of both of them. So I'm still in on Rashad White. Let's see here. Christian bench one, Ibuka, Williams, or Tet McMillan. That would be Jameson Williams for me. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't even know what you're actually asking me, Philly, to be honest. I'm assuming. I have no idea, actually. Please elaborate. I am, if it's any pop culture reference, I'm out. Oh, tennis. Oh, now it makes sense. Yeah, no idea. Not a clue, honestly, to be honest. But I'm going to say this is no actual analysis, no idea about tennis, to be honest. I couldn't even tell you. The other day I was watching and trying to figure out how the scoring worked, to be honest. I live in a football, hockey, baseball realm. I'm gonna go or golf. We could say golf. I'll go with Sinner. Yeah, we'll go with that. I think he's the underdog, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. Don't know anything, but we'll go with him. And if I'm right, I want credit where credit's due. All right. Uh Nathan McCarthy or Caleb Williams today. Caleb Williams plays tomorrow. Ha ha ha. Funny joke, right? Dad jokes. Yeah. I'm gonna go Caleb. I'm gonna pause the JJ McCarthy love. It's not that I don't like him. Uh, don't love the matchup as much. Bears defense a little bit better than Minnesota's, so I'm going to go with Caleb Williams there for you. I think the passing offense a little bit more explosive. Just more weapons for Caleb Williams. I think that the offense is going to look a little bit more fun, and I'm going to ride Caleb Williams. Let's see here. Kyle L. Penix or Stafford. I would go Michael Penix Jr. there. Again, like the matchup. Should be a shootout. We see those AFC South games always turn into a massive back and forth shootout type of game. So yeah, I'm in on that there with the quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. Maybe even Drake London has a big day. You never know, right? You never know. Hopefully. Let's see here. What else we got? Rolling. We're rolling. Any other fun inactives we need to care about now that they should all be in? Oh no. Oh, Skylar Thompson. JK. No, Alan Lazar around. One that was a little interesting was Taj Washington in Miami. Had a good preseason. Surprised he's inactive, to be honest. Nope. Nathan Carter ain't playing. Let's see here. It's not either that or X. Can anybody confirm to me that Twitter's broken? Just seems like it's not doing much of anything today. At all, to be honest. It seems frozen. Come on, computer. Week 1, everybody. Technical difficulties, right? Let's reload Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Holy cow. Work computer. Tim. Welcome in, Tim. Tyrone Tracy or Room Odunze. I will go Tracy there for you, Tim. Don't love Tyrone Tracy that much. But I do think that the matchup's pretty good against Washington. I think he's going to be a 1A, 1B, maybe with Cam Scattaboo. Maybe we can play into the narrative and paint a pretty picture. Russell Wilson will check down to him a little more. I do like Odunze, but in PPR, Tracy seems pretty safe to me. I do enjoy starting running backs in PPR and say flex positions if you have a decent one, especially if they're a receiving type of running back, which is who Tyrone Tracy will be for this Giants offense. Well, we have a minute. If you're still here and you're not a member, head on over, check out ftnfantasy.com. One place you can get all of the rankings and all of the fun that we discuss here on this show every Sunday morning. You can get them a little sooner, get yourself in on that. You can get in on the Discord and get all these questions answered whenever you want. Could be a Thursday night. It could be a Tuesday night. It could be Saturday night. Whenever your heart is at its desires, we could get them answered for you. Makes it a little bit easier for you to get all of these questions answered and anything you need. We also have great stats hub, all the fun data. You name it, we have it over at FTN Fantasy. And even if you play other sports, much like tennis, we were just talking about tennis. I don't know anything about tennis, but we have people who do know things about tennis, Philly. Just saying. Head on over, sign up. It's a lot of fun. You can join us. We'll hang out. We'll talk back and forth in the Discord chat. It's always fun, right? Gets all your questions answered easily. Help you become a better fantasy player. That's our goal, right? Maybe this is a good thing. I don't have that many questions this morning. Maybe because I've helped people become better at it, or maybe because it's just week 1 and we're not having too many questions here in week 1. Not a lot of unchalk-like plays here early on. And the matchups, I feel like the matchups this week in week 1, very favorable for most of our higher end fantasy players. And I think that helps us a little bit and kind of clear our eyes and try not to overthink it, which is unlikely usually for week 1. I think week 2, we'll see that. We're going to have those big blowups. Quentin Johnston's going to be the top waiver wire ad. I'll probably write him up as my top one over at the waiver wire article, but each their own. I love Quentin Johnston as much as the next guy, but I don't know if I would be wasting the fab. But either way, he'll probably be started everywhere next week. Not gonna lie. Also, Justin Herbert. That's a big game. I did not see that coming, but yeah, so we got Bigsby or Bill Krosky Merritt over here in Discord. I'm going to roll with Bigsby. I still like the matchup against Carolina. I know I'm, I guess, bullish, we'll say, on Tank Bigsby this week. I really do think he gets in the end zone. I think that he has a fairly good rush share percentage once it's all said and done this week. Again, I think Jaguars get up on Carolina a little early. I think the Jags win this game pretty handily, and I do think Bigsby is a big part of that as far as kind of killing the clock in the second half there for them. We also got Jakrowski Morit or Ridley. With the news that we have, I honestly feel like I could go to Krosky Merritt, but I think I'm going to ride out Ridley there. I just think that the matchup itself is a little better for Ridley's game script. I know it's a tough matchup against a good Denver secondary, but I think I will ride Ridley there. When I find what I'm looking for, double checking. I don't want to mince my words here. Make the Broncos good again. I think they've achieved that. They are definitely good, if that's all you're looking for. But Tet or Sutton, and I'm going to make you mad. I'm going to say Tet for this week. Matchup's a little juicier there in Tet McMillan than Cortland Sutton for me. Chase Sutherward, start two standard, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Jerome Ford, Matthew Golden. That is a good group to have. I'm going to go Breece Hall and Golden there for you, Chase. Let's see here. Okay. Alberto, I'm sorry, I was typing there, but look, it came in right time. Perfect timing. Sit Swift or Cook. DeAndre Swift. I like James Cook still. I know it's a tough matchup against Baltimore, but let's be honest, he is the Bills' offense. So, yeah, I'm in on James Cook, 100%. I think that if the Bills are going to hold into this game, if you can't tell, Bills fan, that it's going to be James Cook that's going to be heavily involved in this offense. So we saw him have a decent game against them in the playoffs. I think that he still has another solid game this week as well. I don't think he's getting 18 touchdowns, but he's going to have a pretty solid week. In case anybody is watching, looks like a absolute downpour in New England. So Stephon Diggs does get a little less intriguing. That's for sure. All righty. It seems like we're slowing down. Typically, sometimes I'll hang out till 12:30. We haven't had too many. Alex, I'm going to get to your question here in a second. Actually, I'll just do it now. Screw it. Alex, Jawan Jennings or Jordan Mason? I'm going to go Jawan Jennings there. I like the matchup against Seattle. Seems like he's probably going to be the primary receiver in this passing attack behind, obviously, Kittle, CMC. But as far as receiver goes, I think he's a step ahead of Pearsall, personally. I think Pearsall will see some work, but I do think Jawan Jennings is the guy you want as far as receivers go in that 49ers offense. Yeah, either way, that one question prolonged it, but I think we're going to dip out of here a couple minutes early this week. Week 1, pretty chalk. Talked about it a couple times throughout the episode, but if you enjoyed, and even if you didn't enjoy, maybe if I get it right, you know what I mean? Come back, hang out, say hi, peek in. We'll definitely be back next week for sure. Same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll roll up till about 12:30-ish, 12:15, depending on how the traffic rolls. Today it was not super heavy, so we're going to go ahead and dip out of here at 12-ish, 12:15, 12:11, whatever we are here. And then we'll be back next week. And as always, make sure you check out ftnfantasy.com. Again, we can get in on the Discord, join the family. It's a lot of fun there. Follow me on X at PopesFFH. Follow FTN Fantasy at FTN Fantasy on X. You can also check us out on Blue Sky, TikTok, you name it. We're everywhere. YouTube, hang out, subscribe to the YouTube. That'd be fun. If they'd enjoy it, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, keep me on the air, and we'll keep winning you some fantasy football matchups, and hopefully get you some championship rings by the end of the season. All right. Take care. Enjoy week 1 again. And I know it's not 7 hours commercial-free football, but we get 7 hours of red zone and obviously plenty of football to be played today. Enjoy the day. It's back, boys and girls. We're going to be riding out 18 more weeks. And then we get the playoffs. And then we're back to the misery of no football. All right. So it'll come quicker than you expect. So again, enjoy, and no problem, Jake. Again, we'll be back next week. Make sure you come back, tune in, and hang out with us. We'll get you another win next week, hopefully. All right. Take care.